Hi there, I'm Nu-Trix, and today we're looking into Soft Clipper from Air. Air has been around for a while. You might not know them, but they've been doing software VST plugins for a long time, synth and effects. And this time you have this Soft Clipper, which can be simple or can be advanced. And let's just go through it and think about what is a clipper. It might not be clear to people what clipper is. The logic of a clipper is basically in an analog system. When you go too loud, the signal's gonna, you can clip. There's many different ways you can clip, but the logic is that when the signal goes too loud, the top can be shaved off if you want. So the shape, instead of being a smooth movement, will top to the maximum, and then that's the ceiling of the system. The headroom is just saturated, and then it flats line, and then it goes back. So that's going to be called clipping. Now, there's different ways depending on the system you're using. They could be soft clipping, medium, or really hard clipping. And all you understand, from soft to hard, it's also from softer distortion, if you want, to a harsher sound where it's going to be hard clipping. Now, this system offers everything. It's a little plugin that does really well this, but let's just play around with, let's say you want to clip some things, but it might not clip every sound into your mix. And I'm going to use a little drum rhythm here. I've got this little sequence that I'm playing. That's the original sound. I've got controls over the different sound here. I can just click on it and bring the volume. The kick here. Get the snare here. Just the snare. And just the hi-hat. Now this, I'm going to bring them all back in. Now, if I want to distort this, I could just drive it in. I'm going to take the clipper and turn it on. If I don't have any drive, I just have the original signal. Comes in, comes out, done deal. If I bring the drive up, the early stage of it is just bringing warmth to the sound, and then later on it starts to clip, and you start to hear the clipping of the frequencies. Now, it might be too loud, so you can bring the post level and bring the really much more of the roundness of the distortion. You can hear that. But then again, it also is linked to how loud you're sending to it. So if I go back to my kick here, I can bring it down. So now the kick does not clip, but the hi-hat and the snare does. I can take the hi-hat and say, okay, let's say I'm going to bring that down. And I'm going to bring the kick back up. So the kick is clipping, but the hi-hat not so much. So even sending it to different level to it will make that some sound go over the limit and then start clipping, and others do not because they're softer in sound and they're not going over the edge of the limit of the system, I would say. Now you go, okay, very simple, drive and post, but when you go into advanced window, now you get a little bit more control. You see the drive here, the post, but then you have the shape of it. Let's just go more into distortion so you hear it clearer. Okay. So there's a different shape of distortion. You can turn all of these true peak, anti-alias, stereo link off. So stereo link means if a signal on one side is louder, it's going to clip on that section, not the other one. So you can have it separately, or you want them to work on both sides at the same time. Anti-alias, well, it depends on if you want it to be cleaner or not. And then this is where it really is fun, is when you start playing with a release. Turn on the release. If they don't have it, it's instant, maximum, and it goes away right away. If you start to bring the release up, it's it's going to smooth between the different sounds. So you hear the clip and it stays and longer. So it gives you a smoother sound, but then you hear more in this case. You hear the compression, which is also a sound. So you might like to have this or not. And you bring it louder and louder and louder. I mean, you bring the release longer. You hear more of compression and less of clipping. And it becomes interesting when you say, well, I'm going to drop the kick. If I don't have any release, a little bit more louder. Bringing back the kick. Hear the distortion clearly. Or bringing back the release. Now you hear it more like a compressor that is pumping. Let's try these different. Let's try the different presets you have here. Heavy. And I'm going to turn the hi-hat back on. I'll try this, but I'll take it off of this section here. I'll bring it back to the main out. Okay, so we start with this. If you just try different. That's it. That's what the soft clipper is from Air. It can be a distortion unit or a clipper unit if you want to really make it noisy and aggressive. It can be a limiter that has some attitude to it, really pumping. Of course, it can really bring the noise. I mean, clipping is by default some type of distortion if you want. It doesn't have a clean sound, but this one can be really round and nice if you use the release. And there's enough control that make it light and just be worked as a kind of a clip limiter if you want, just to finish the sound, or really have it as a nasty distortion if that's what you're looking for. So it does the two of it. And it's very simple to use. You have the advanced window if needed, or you have the simple window where you really just have drive and post level. That's it. Try it if you want. Air. Stay safe, make more music, and see you soon. Cheers.